Welcome back to another video, and today I'm reviewing the Haix Airpower XR26 safety boots. So in this video I'm going to talk through some of the key points on these boots, some of the good points and some of the bad points, and hopefully by the end of it you'll know whether the Haix XR26 safety boots are the boots for you. And of course there will be a link to these in the description so you can check them out for yourself. And stick around to the end of the video where I'll be sharing a couple of bonus tips on how to look after and get the best out of these boots. And do let me know in the comments what are your go-to brands when it comes to safety boots. So with that all being said, let's dive into the review. And I have to be upfront with you and say that these aren't a cheap pair of boots. Now these come in at about £120, so they're by no means a cheap pair of boots, but in my opinion, they are worth it, and hopefully by the end of it you'll think they are too as well. They've already lasted me comfortably long enough for me to feel like they paid for themselves, and if I'd had a cheaper pair I'd probably be already on another pair. So for me personally they do make sense, but I can see why that sort of price tag would be a stumbling block for some people. Being a professional gardener, I spend most of my time outside gardening, and come winter in the UK it gets wet, cold and pretty miserable, so a waterproof boot is a must for me. And to be honest, when it comes to safety boots the choice is fairly limited. So to start with, you've got a quality brown leather with a nubuck finish. It's nearly 2mm thick, so really high quality thick leather. It's also hydrophobic, but if it gets through the leather there's an extra layer of protection, and it's quite a layer of protection. It's a 4-layer gore-tex membrane, and I'm sure you've all heard of gore-tex. They're one of the most well-known makers of waterproof fabrics and materials, and the 4-layer gore-tex is as good as fabric they do. If it gets through the leather, it ain't getting through that gore-tex. So, you know, you can really trust these that you're not going to get wet at all, and the waterproof membrane goes all the way up to the top of the boot, so you know you can stand in a puddle and you ain't going to get wet. Really top quality waterproof protection, and you know if you're spending all day outside, you know that's what you need. Coupled with that, you've got really good breathability in the boot. If you wear a boot all day, all week, eventually it's going to start building up with water inside just through sweat. With these boots it's greatly reduced because you've got the membrane, and the leather allows it to breathe out of the boot, so keeping you nice and dry. There's also a climate control system in here to do with the insole, which as you tread on it, it sort of pumps air in and out to cool it and stop that build-up of water. Being able to deal with that water that gets in is another real bonus, and this one does it as good as any. So the leather itself is held up really well. There's a few cracks and scuffs and cuts and stuff like that, but nothing that compromises the integrity of the leather. You know, where it bends and stuff, those high wear points, inevitably it's starting to crack and bend a bit, but to be honest it's to be expected and still held up very well. But having a boot that's waterproof is not much good if it's horrible and uncomfortable to wear. And the good thing with these boots is they are really comfortable to wear. They are nice and lightweight for a safety boot. So these boots come in at about 1.6, 1.7 kilos for the pair. Quite heavy, but certainly lighter than a lot of boots. Compare that to my Salmons walking boots, are at 1.2, 1.3 kilos. So, you know, it's not bad considering the extra bits on this boot. It's nice to have a lightweight boot. It just makes your life easier and more comfortable. On the footbed, you've got shock absorbing elements along the footbeds there which do a very good job of absorbing that impact. You can wear this all day without any discomfort or fatigue in your foot. On the sole of the shoe you've got a Haix own brand tread, which I'm very impressed by. It's really nice and grippy even in icy, muddy conditions. You've got plenty of tread depth, and it, as I say, it does give a good grip on, you know, almost any surface. There is a bit of wear on there, but that's to be expected. As I say, I've used it quite a lot, but there's still plenty of life in that tread as well. You've got a nice section in the middle on the arch of your foot. So you've got a metal through sole, which obviously is going to give you puncture protection, but in this section here, it's also reinforced. So if you're using a ladder, particularly for a long period of time, you know, if you're in trainers or something, that can hurt the arch of your foot. Whereas this, you know, it takes the weight of you really effectively and stops any of that pain and discomfort in the arch of your foot. The insole in here as well is only very thin and quite hard, but it's actually remarkably comfortable and gives a really nice place to put your foot. You can fit orthopedic insoles or whatever insoles you want in there, and Haix do a few other ones as well, so you can find that one that works for you best. Also, I have a slightly wider foot and I find a lot of shoes just really uncomfortable around the toes, whereas this one has got a nice big toe cap area which gives plenty of space for my toes, so I have no problems with cramping or crushed toes, so I'm very impressed by that. Only thing is my brother does find the back of the boot a little bit uncomfortable. just above the heel, you've got a couple of bony protrusions, and it's a bit hard at the back here, so he does find that that can rub and cause a bit of a blister occasionally. So, you might want a thicker sock on these just to negate that problem. But personally, I don't have that problem, but it's something that my brother does suffer with. But, all in all, it's a very comfortable boot. It's all nicely padded at the top here as well, and you've got a cutaway section here which just allows your leg and ankle to move that bit more effectively. And again, when you're kneeling down, that just allows that leg to get into a more natural position, so it's a lot more comfortable that way. And the boot does allow for quite a bit of flex, considering there's a metal through sole in there. Not a huge amount, but enough so that it's not uncomfortable. And as I say, all in all, a very, very comfortable boot. With it being a safety boot, I've got to talk about the safety ratings. So here in the UK, it's rated as an S3, which is the highest rating for safety. And I'll also flash on screen all of the other safety acronyms that it has as well. But in essence, you've got a through sole and a plastic toe cap. I've got total confidence that this is going to keep me nice and safe. I did say I'd share a couple of bonus tips with you on how to look after and get the best out of these boots. Now, the first one is fairly simple, and it is to look after the boot and wax it. So I wax this every sort of month or so, depending on use. I will link the products that I use in the description, but it just stops the leather cracking, keeps that flexibility, and keeps the waterproofing. So it is definitely worth doing. It is an expensive boot, so it is worth looking after it, and keep it away from radiators as well, because that will crack the leather. Second one is to use a boot dryer. Now, I just use a simple, cheap silicone boot dryer. As much as these boots do keep your foot dry and stop that build-up of moisture, eventually, after a week of work, they are going to get a little bit damp in there. So I find the best thing to do, just take the insole out, stick the boot dryer in at the weekend, and come Monday, you've got a nice, warm, dry boot ready for the rest of the week. So there you go, there's my review of the Haix Airpower XR26 safety boots, a quality piece of kit. I highly recommend it, particularly if you're a gardener, landscaper, or anyone who's working outside on wet, damp sites, anyone who's basically working outside and who doesn't want to get a wet foot but wants that high level of safety protection, then these are the boots for you. If you did like the video, don't forget to hit that likes button and maybe consider subscribing for more videos like this. It would be great to have you along the channel. If you've got any comments about the product, drop them in the comment section and I'll get back to you. And that just leaves me to say thanks again for watching. Bye for now.